Good evening, everybody. It is Biscuits and SEC Live Show 85. We got a lot going on here. As you can see, we're going to talk a little bit about SEC baseball's final weekend. We also have the Vanity Unfair profile that was Lane Kiffin just dropping some more napalm on the Ole Miss and LSU rivalry that has already been there for a long time, but has only gotten even more vitriolic since Lane Kiffin left for LSU, and now he just continues to put hot sauce on it. So we'll talk a little bit about that, the rivalry that just continues, that it just never ends. He just keeps throwing stuff on the fire. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the SEC baseball. We got a big weekend coming up. We have a lot that could be sorted out here. We got a lot of big series, some seeding that can be sorted out as we get into the SEC tournament and then also into the NCAA tournament. And then we're excited about this. We're going to talk about our top 5 games. Like football season slowly getting here. We're creeping up on it. So we're going to talk a little bit about our top 5 SEC games, both mine and Hammer's, that we're most excited about. So there'll be some overlap, but we also decided to go and find a couple of our own that are a little bit different. So we'll talk a lot about that here in the back end of the show. As always, everybody, go ahead and sign up for the Morning Biscuits newsletter. We didn't get it out today. That's not typical, but we were in our day job. We got a little bit tied down today. So we will get it out tomorrow morning, and there's also a lot to talk about. So we'll make sure that it's robust. You get everything you need to know in the Morning Biscuits newsletter, which will come out tomorrow. But typically during the off season, comes out on Wednesdays, and then during the season, it's on Mondays and Fridays. Free to sign up, as always, biscuitsandsec.com/newsletter. So be sure to go sign up for that. Right now, as we speak, as always, we are presented by the Steer Agency. You need any marketing help, PR, public affairs, anything like that, go check out the Steer Agency, thesteeragency.com. Hammer, what's going on? How's your week going so far? How you been?
Doing good. Like you said, a little busy with the day job. So subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the newsletter. So we don't have to do that nonsense anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the show tonight. I'm a little tired, if I'm being honest, of the Kiffin saga, but it's also May 13th and he's giving us something to talk about. So I shouldn't be that tired of it, I suppose, as somebody who tries to, come on and talk about the latest goings on in the SEC once a week. But man, it's getting old.
Well, fear not, because we got many more years of that to come with Lane Kiffin. It will never end as long as Lane Kiffin is in the SEC, but gives us a lot of fodder to talk about, like you said. So why don't we just jump right into it? Let's talk off the jump here about Lane Kiffin. And as I mentioned at the start, the Vanity Unfair profile from Lane Kiffin. So just to set this up a little bit, I think I have this correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was 3 weeks ago, that we had a profile on Trinidad Chambliss in Vanity Fair. And so now, interestingly enough, we have, all of a sudden, there's a Lane Kiffin profile. I don't know if these were set up, at the same time. Was it something else? Was it New York Times?
No, I think it was both Vanity Fair. It was Chambliss and then Kiffin, yeah.
So I don't know if these were set up, and they just happened to be back-to-back, and Vanity Fair was trying to get into the college football, game, or if this was Kiffin as soon as Trinidad has his profile and his moment in the sun, and Ole Miss gets this national profile, that Kiffin, his PR team calls and says, "Oh, well, we want to do that. Well, why don't you come down to Baton Rouge?" And the obvious answer for any reporter with everything that's been going on around him would be, absolutely, we'll do that. So who knows? I don't know how this all got set up, but Lane Kiffin, the upshot of it, you don't even really need to read the profile. It's that he basically said it was difficult to recruit to Ole Miss, and one of the reasons that he left Ole Miss to go to LSU was because of how difficult at times it was to recruit to Ole Miss, and because of the old baggage that Ole Miss has. Even the Ole Miss name carries its own connotation. They've had trouble with the Confederate flag. They've had all these issues, and I would get recruits and their families who would say, well, my grandma just won't let me go to Ole Miss. Essentially saying that everybody in Mississippi or a lot of folks at Ole Miss are racists. That is what the connotation is, okay? And so obviously this lit a fire, and Ole Miss fans who already don't like this man, he has to go to Oxford pretty soon, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but he will never be welcome back there ever again. After a great 6-year run there, he is persona non grata, and maybe even less than that. So talk to me a little bit about what your thoughts are on this, what your take is. It's unfortunate. So I want to hear what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think for me, like, this honestly goes back to, now that I've thought about this for the last couple of days or whatever, like, this goes back to that ESPN, the magazine, Ryan McGee article, the ESPN, what's it called? E60, the many faces of Lane Kiffin, where it's a total puff piece about how he's changed. He's not the same guy. He's sober, and he just loves Oxford, and he's so happy at Ole Miss. And
the people are wonderful.
Yeah, the people are great, which I've seen many Ole Miss fans circulating that clip of him last year at, I believe, SEC Media Days, where he's saying, I needed Oxford, more than Oxford needed me. Like, it's been so good. All the people have been so great. He's had a lot of stuff going on in his personal life. And so, man, like you said, for like to go back to that point where he obviously now at this point we can say kind of pulled the rug out from under everybody or put a mask on, but like, he had done a great job of rehabilitating his image and ingratiating himself to the people of Oxford. Obviously that goes with the territory when you're winning ball games, but to see the way he has acted since he decided to leave for a better job, historically speaking, right? Ole Miss fans, Stephen Willis, our good friend, like, I'm totally here for the argument, that the playing field is level. Indiana just won a national title. I get all that. Historically, there is no comparison between these two programs, right? So him taking this job is not crazy, but the way he's handled it is just, to me at this point, like, it's past the point of just kind of sad. It's like, it's pathetic. And it makes me I know moving forward that he's just never going to change. He is who he is. He's all about himself. He loves the attention on him. I mean, the forthcoming newsletter that comes out tomorrow, I was working on it with what little time I had today. And that's kind of what I said. I was just like, man, what kind of a football coach does a profile with Vanity Fair? Him. Nobody like Saban, Kirby, Elko, like, these people aren't doing that. They don't care. Kiffin cares. He cares way too much about having the attention on him. And that's why he did all this. And I even saw the piece, I think it was on floating around social media from the Feinbaum show, where the guy who wrote the article even said, he's like, I didn't ask Kiffin about race. Like, I didn't ask him about any of this. He just offered it up. He just started talking about it. And you're like, oh, so he just had this axe to grind with Ole Miss 6 months after the fact? Like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, and it's also, so first of all, I just want to say, we have a good relationship with Ole Miss folks, right? So Stephen Willis started the After Dark Network. We're a part of that. He's been extraordinarily good to us. We consider Stephen a friend and have a lot of folks who watch us in the Ole Miss sphere and from Oxford. That doesn't mean that we won't clown on Ole Miss if they deserve it, right? We are neutral. We are as unbiased as we possibly can be. We are Aggies. We know everybody who watches this show, that we're Aggies, but we'll take shots at A&M if they deserve it at times, right? So
we do deserve it a lot of times.
We do deserve it a lot of times. Sure. Yeah. We will liberally take shots at Texas.
Yeah.
We'll answer to that. But but even so, we'll give them their flowers when they deserve it. I say all that because I just want to say to the good people of Oxford, like, you guys don't deserve this. This is the school has worked very hard to get past a lot of what has happened in their history. Okay. We all know the issues that occurred at Ole Miss and in the South in general. Okay. But Ole Miss in particular, over the last 20 years, especially, and even going further back, have worked hard to get past those negative connotations, right? Now, with that being said, you move to where Lane Kiffin is talking about this, and he's basically saying that there was this negative, disadvantage that he had in recruiting. He put together some of the best recruiting classes in Ole Miss history. And not only that, he was winning 10 games a year at Ole Miss. He was not hindered in recruiting by this, okay? This is him just, like you said, bringing up whatever he wants to bring up and just an axe to grind and lighten that match and throwing it on the fire like he's the Joker in the Dark Knight. And just, some men just want to watch the world burn. That's Lane Kiffin. Everywhere he leaves, he just wants to watch it burn. And people are saying, this is kind of 3D chess or a 4D chess move by him, right? To just kind of throw them under the bus, just put this out into the ether because he has to recruit against them now. And, I just don't agree with that. I just think it's Kiffin. I think it's Kiffin being an absolute jerk. And, had I not, we never did this, and this is a joke, but, years ago, Coach Kiffin retweeted us after we took a shot at USC on his behalf. And, there's people who put like in their bio or something, retweeted by this person or followed by this person. And I thought for a minute, just as a joke, to put, retweeted by Lane Kiffin. Well, you know what? If I had done that, I would have taken Lane Kiffin's name out of our bio for this absolute joke of a profile that he did in Vanity Fair. So the last thing I want to say about it is you alluded to this earlier, but whatever image that he had repaired up to this point, it had obviously with Ole Miss fans and with a lot of the college football public, he lost a lot of goodwill. Okay. He had rebuilt his image post everything happened at Alabama when he gets fired unceremoniously, the tarmac, Tennessee, you name it. Okay. He had done a very good job of rehabilitating his image. And even after everything that happened with Ole Miss and the way that he handled that, he had started, he at least still had some left of that good image that he had built aside from what with Ole Miss fans. This to me, it's done. Like that, everything that he had done to up to that point to repair his image, any modicum of what was left of that is gone. Like he's just a villain, and it is what it is.
Yeah. As our friend Mike here says, you can be a victim and the aggressor. He was one at USC, but now he's just the villain. And I agree. I think he is. And for LSU fans, look, if I rooted for LSU, I wouldn't care, and you shouldn't care. He's going to probably win a lot of ball games. That's what I would expect out of him. And he's entertaining, he gets people talking. But for me at this point, I'm just out on the guy. Like when he said this about Ole Miss, again, 6 months after the fact, after all that he'd already said and done, and I was kind of just like, you know what? Like it bothered me, but whatever. Now I'm like, nah, I'm rooting against this guy. Because I just look at it and like now that this has come out and he wants to, like you said, kind of pour the gasoline, throw the match and turn around. It's like, well, now everything he does bothers me. Why are you posting shirtless pics on Twitter? Why are you posting pictures with like college girl? Like, and I don't think it seems like he's got, a good family life. He's repaired. It's all for attention. And that's why I'm like, I'm just done with this, dude. Like, I know you're not fooling around with people. I guess I don't know. And I don't really care what you do with your personal life, I should say, but I'm done with it, dude. I don't need to see you posting pictures of your nephew every 2 seconds. I don't need to see you posting shirtless pictures. Like, just your Bible quotes. I mean, dude, get out. Like, please be quiet for a while, man. Like, if you wanted to make this decision to go to LSU, I have no qualms with that decision. Just step up and be a man and say, here's why I took it. 1, 2, 3, and I'm done talking about it. Leave it at that. Say, I'm moving to Baton Rouge, LSU. That's my focus. Instead, he's all over Twitter talking about Ole Miss. He's all over Vanity Fair talking about Ole Miss. And then today or yesterday, he goes on to On Free to apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm real sorry. Dude, again, shut up. Please. Just stop.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I also, how could I forget this? I can't believe I forgot this. But justice for Juice Kiffin. Okay, the way that you treated that dog, that should have actually, for me, now that I can't believe I forgot that. Justice for Juice. That is where he lost the last modicum of respect he had from me.
And he's back tweeting on Juice. It's the whole bad PR. I'm tweeting from Juice. Yeah, he's tweeting from Juice's account today.
Man,
it's just, again, look, man, he's childish. He's a good football coach, probably win a lot of games. If he was my head coach, I would root for him. But in terms of the way he carries himself, I've just had enough of it, and it's just not for me. If it's for you, more power to you. It is not for me, and I'm kind of fed up with him and just want him to be quiet for a while.
To your point about if he's your coach, you're going to root for him. Yeah, that's LSU. LSU has always been this way in a sense of like they feel like they're unique. In a way, they seriously embrace their uniqueness, which I totally respect. But they are aggressive about it in a way of like, yeah, we're different and we're going to kick your tail, and we don't care. And we don't care if you don't like us. We embrace the villain role. And since Lane Kiffin has gone there, and since Will Wade has gone back there, Kim Mulkey, like that has only ratcheted up tenfold of them just embracing that villain role. And so with this, Lane Kiffin is making the villain, even he's villainizing himself even more. And so to me, that just galvanizes this LSU fan base around him even more of like, you know what? We don't care. You hate him. You hate us. You hate LSU. You hate Louisiana. So does everybody else. But you know what? We love them. So screw you. We're going to walk into your stadium and kick your ass, and we don't care. And I get it, man. If I was an LSU fan, I would do the same thing. I would rally around it, rally around the flag, and say, we don't care if you hate us. We're going to march right in there and crush you.
Yeah.
And maybe under Lane Kiffin, that's what they'll get back to doing because it's been a roller coaster really since Les Miles. You got that one with Ed O, but Brian Kelly was a disaster. And so maybe you get back to LSU's winning ways under Lane.
Maybe so. The last thing I'll say on it, this is a good way to sum it up. This is Chris Lowe with a quote from Keith Carter, the Ole Miss athletic director. And it just says, if he wanted to go to LSU, that's fine. Go to LSU, but leave us alone. But because you don't get what you wanted in being able to coach the playoff, you try to burn us down on the way out. And that feels very much like what's going on. Kiffin was very unhappy that he did not get to coach in the playoff because he, felt like he had earned that right. I disagree. Keith Carter disagreed. I think most people disagreed, but that's what Kiffin's opinion was. He did not get that opportunity. And I think that's where it soured. I think he, again, despite all the PR, the pub, the people, Oxford, I love it. I think that is when he decided, he felt like he got wronged, and he's vindictive. And, here we are. I hope that, again, I hope he can be quiet for a while until the season. And then I hope come September 19th, I think it is, or 27th. I can't remember off the top of my head. That, I hope LSU beats them. And I hope it's as hostile as it can be. Because I'm a little, and I've seen some people saying this on Twitter, but it's like, dude, I'm a little worried about this. Because, and he brought this up about how, or Kiffin did something about, how his relationship with Tennessee fans is different than Ole Miss. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I wasn't following this as close as I was in 2009 when I was in high school, but you did not treat Tennessee the way you're treating Ole Miss right now. Like, of course it's different. Like this is bad because of the things you are doing. Like I tweeted that to an Ole Miss guy. He said something to his old memes, who's a good account, and I tweeted the hot dog, Tim, whatever, like, hey, we're all trying to find out who made it so hostile. Like, dude, it's you, man. Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror. That is. I mean, Tennessee fans hate this guy, right? And they were still throwing mustard and golf balls and all this crap just a couple of years ago when he came back, when he was the coach at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And now Ole Miss fans hate this guy even more than Tennessee fans do. They had this guy around for 6 years. They had to deal with all his crap for 6 years. And especially in the last season, and the way he left them and the way he's antagonizing them and talking about it, it's just, yeah, I mean, I'm with them. I mean, man, they better have a whole lot of state troopers around there. And to Ole Miss fans, like, I get it, but like, let's not try to hurt the guy. Let's just boo and be angry and mad, and we can do all that. And maybe we throw some hot dogs. I'm in for that. That doesn't hurt anybody. That's funny. I don't know. Let's find something funny to throw at them.
Yeah.
Good
luck. Hopefully they can get the job done. That would be poetic.
And beat them. That's right. 100% beat them. Beat them by 20. So, all right, let's move into our main segment of the night. And then we'll get into SEC baseball at the end.
Yeah, right. Maybe the ones that ran him off the road, apparently, are the people. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Or maybe you can get the state trooper at Texas A&M who threw.
Yeah, gave the
Nick Harbor in the tunnel.
shimmy.
Yeah, give him the shoulder. Yeah. Get that. Somebody needs to hire that trooper, and he can give him the shimmy shake on the way at halftime. Oh, man. All right, let's get on to – this will be fun because we just touched on a game that's going to be incredible, but the best SEC games of 2026. You put yours together. I put mine together. Top 5 games in the SEC for each of us that we're looking forward to. Obviously, there's going to be some that we don't get to. There's only 5 that we're both picking. But man, there's just good. I can't wait for football. I'm looking at the schedule every time we start to look at these things. I'm just like College World Series. Can't wait. Get it. I love SEC baseball. I love all that. But man, college football is where it's at in the SEC and in the South. So let's talk a little bit about these. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I had the same thought, and it dawned on me as I was going through these schedules, because I'm looking at it, and we're narrowing this down to 5 games, right? And I'm thinking, dang, this is going to be tough to narrow it down. And then it dawned on me, I was like, oh, well, we got 9 conference games. No wonder it's so hard. I was like, where did all these matchups come from? And it's like, oh, dang. Yeah, we've got 9 conference games, which is a blessing and a curse. If you're rooting for a team and hoping they get into the playoffs, it's probably a curse. But if you're just enjoy good football on Saturdays, it's a blessing because we got more of it.
Exactly. And that's what I've been saying since the beginning. You coaches and some of these folks are like, oh, we're going to have, difficulty getting into the playoff, blah, 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 blah. It's, we beat up on each other. I get it. I totally get that argument. But as a fan, I want more SEC football. I want more good matchups every week to watch. So I'm excited about the 9-game conference schedule. All right, I want to start with you. So we probably could have done this in a reveal fashion, but here it is. Here's the whole thing, and then we'll just go through and we'll talk about all of them. Hammer, these are your top 5 games in the SEC in 2026 that you're excited about. I'm seeing a lot of Ole Miss and Georgia. and LSU.
And LSU. Yes. Yeah, I guess pretty biased here just in terms of, really what I was looking at. I think number 1 is a no-brainer for the reasons we just talked about for 20 minutes.
I think that's everybody's number 1. It's kind of has to be, right?
Right. But just real quick on that game, aside from the off-the-field, storylines that will be gigantic going into the game, both those teams should be very good. We'll see, how Golding does in his first full season as the head guy, but talent-wise, Ole Miss is looking pretty good, and of course LSU. has a $40+ million roster. Kiffin, transfer portal, class number one. Like they look to be good. We'll see how good, but they look to be a pretty darn good and talented team. And it's the third week of the season, so you would think both of those teams are going to be, healthy and amped. So that should be good. Yeah, I mean, look, the rest of them, like, us, as you said, we watch all the games on Saturdays. I love it all. I'm Missouri, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Auburn, whoever, like I'm watching it. But when it comes to the biggest, like my top 5 games I'm most looking forward to, it was a lot of the kind of similar figures, because the teams on there are probably like the odds-on favorites to win the SEC, right? Those are kind of the biggest teams coming into this, maybe with the exception of Oklahoma not being on this list. But like those are the teams, A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia, playoff teams from a year ago. LSU again, poised to make a turnaround under Kiffin, and Texas just on the outside looking into the playoff last year, made the playoff the prior 2 years. So like I was just trying to find big games. Number 2 on my list, Georgia at Alabama. When does that game not deliver?
It's a war. Every year it's a war.
Right. It's a war every year. Back in Bryant-Denny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pumped for it, right? We got it twice last year. Alabama outlasted them in Sanford, and then the SEC title game, Georgia took Bama behind the woodshed. So we'll see. We're going to have a lot of different faces on both sides of the matchup in that one. But, Gunnar Stockton going into Bryant-Denny, like, yeah, sign me up, dude. I'm pumped for that. Georgia at Ole Miss, similarly, like that game the last couple of years, man, has been massive since the SEC expansion and since the end of the East-West division. That game's been played the last 2 years, and it's ruled, right? The game 2 years ago in Oxford was kind of the a lot of people thought it was kind of the arrival for Ole Miss before they stumbled and fell, to Florida, but that was a huge game. A huge statement for Kiffin and the Rebels. Funny enough to say at this point, but a huge statement for them at the time.
Yeah.
And then last year it was one of the best games of the year where Trinidad and Stockton just throwing haymaker after haymaker in Sanford. And finally, Georgia gets the stop on that 4th down and kind of closes the door because Ole Miss couldn't stop them. But that was a heck of a game. So I thought, how could I not put that in my top 5?
With if Kiffin isn't your coach, Ole Miss fans, you probably win that game. If Pete Golding's your coach, you win that game. I guarantee it.
Right. Maybe so. And then this is probably some bias here, right? With the Lone Star Showdown, Texas at A&M. But at the same time, like there was serious implications on this game a year ago. Texas is 2-0 since they've restarted the rivalry. And I'm obviously as an Aggie, but I'm very eager to see this game go back to Kyle Field, because I think if you look at this at the time when that game first, the rivalry was brought back and it went to Kyle Field, I was convinced we were going to beat them just because I was convinced A&M was going to beat Texas just because of everything, rivalry, home game, haven't played in over a decade, blah, 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 blah.
Well, and the history of this rivalry has also seen A&M be an underdog and win it like multiple times. Like this is not, so A&M was going to be an underdog. Everyone knew that with Kyle Field. It's like still got, So anyway.
Yeah, but my point is I'm excited to see it come back to Kyle Field because I do think in hindsight, now that we've seen that game twice now, you're definitely right where A&M has pulled off silly upsets in that game in the past.
Yeah.
But Texas was much better than that A&M team. I mean, Texas won multiple games in the playoff and took Ohio State to the freaking wire if it hadn't been for the Quinn Ewers, fumble, scoop and score from Jack Sawyer. So, that Texas team was a cut above A&M in that matchup, and I do think they'll be much. I mean, famous last words, but I think they'll be much closer this year. They were a lot closer last year. Texas vastly outplayed them in that game in Austin, but I do think it's year 3 of Elko. Like, I just think they're a little bit better on equal footing, right? Year 1 from Elko 2 years ago to now year 3. A&M has won 11 games, been to the playoff, veteran quarterback. Texas has a veteran quarterback. And I think whether it's SEC title or college football playoff, like that game being the final weekend of the regular season, I think yet again, whether it's for both or just one, there will be serious implications on that game. So had to include that one. And then again, maybe this is a little biased, so y'all in the comments check me, but the A&M LSU rivalry has been darn good. That's my 5th one. And the reason I put it on there is because that's why Brian Kelly got fired, because A&M whipped their tails 2 years in a row. They cleared the stadium out in Baton Rouge and hung 50 on LSU. And it's year 1. Kiffin's got job security, of course, but LSU fans do not take kindly to losing to A&M. So if Kiffin is going to get his tenure off on the right foot, that's one of the games I think that LSU fans have circled. Obviously the Ole Miss game, and you know, there's a lot of big games on LSU's schedule. Just look at it. But I think that one, especially being in September, they're chalking it up as a win because they're used to beating A&M. That's not really the case the last 5 years, you know, but like that's what they think about in their head. LSU fans do. So I think that's a big game for Kiffin to just get his tenure off on the right foot. And it also happens to be the week after the Ole Miss game. So it's kind of a big letdown spot for them, especially considering they have no idea how to defend Marcel Reed. So I put that one on there thinking it's a big game for Kiffin and LSU early in the season.
Well, and Kiffin also has been A&M's kryptonite. While he was at Ole Miss, he loved poking Jimbo Fisher just constantly, and he loved beating him, and he did it. I don't think A&M beat him when he was at Ole Miss, if I'm correct. Maybe one time.
Oh no, I don't think so, because we didn't play the COVID year. That one got canceled, and then 21, 22. Yeah. Maybe
once, maybe.
Yeah. But Kiffin was 3-0.
I think he was. Yeah.
Against A&M. Yeah. So and then we haven't played the last 2 seasons.
And you know, there's some speculation that Kiffin back channeled to try to get to A&M after Jimbo was fired, which wouldn't surprise me either, man. Who knows? But all I'm saying is that I get why you're putting that one on there, because of there is a rivalry. LSU and A&M, they don't like each other. And LSU hates losing to, as they refer to, I think they refer to A&M as the Goobs. I think we're the Goobs. I don't know. So they hate losing to the Goobs. They hate losing to the Milkmen. All right.
Yeah.
And so now they have somebody who they think is going to quickly revitalize this program, and also when it comes to A&M is kryptonite. He has been very good against A&M. So Athletes Forum, I want to put this is pretty funny. If I was having a kid a day of the Ole Miss LSU, I might have to miss the birth of that kid. What's up?
That's a good one.
What's going on, man? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I completely agree. There is also another fantastic game, I think. I don't think it's LSU Ole Miss, but maybe tune in, Mike.
Yeah, as I say, so this is fair. I think that's probably the biggest omission from my top 5 is probably Red River, but I'll defer to you if you want to show your
ears are burning, Mike. Number 3, Red River, Oklahoma, Texas. For reasons that you mentioned in the chat, Mike, this is my top 5 SEC games of 2026. I had to put Red River on there. I think you're totally right. Playoff team, Texas on the verge of being a playoff team. This one matters a lot. This is like Auburn and Alabama, right? The coach that loses that game, if they go on a streak of losing that game, they they're on the hot seat, right? Like that kind of thing. So I think you have to have it on here. And by the way, too, like Brent Venables has had issues in this game, like serious issues in this game. And so if Texas continues to pound it, pound Brent Venables every time they go into Red River, he's going to continue to have issues, and the chorus is only going to grow. I don't care if he's turned it around to, win 9 games, win 10 games a year, get into the playoff, blah, blah, blah. If you're not beating Texas in Red River, you got issues. And so this one is massive, and it's going to have big implications, as it did last year, as going into later in the season. Playoff seeding, is somebody's going to get into the playoff, SEC title ramifications, all that. So Red River on October 10th, I think you got to have that. That's my number 3 top game. The two at the top, we both had the same games at the top. I think Rick mentioned it in the chat as well. Just, it has to be number 1. I think this is the number 1 game in all of college football when we're looking preseason at the games. I think if you're talking nationally, it's probably the top game, just because of all the storylines. Both teams should be very good, and it's Lane Kiffin in year 1 going back to Ole Miss. It's not like A&M and Schloss in baseball when Schloss stabbed him in the back and A&M had to go to Austin the first year, right? And it kind of simmers in the background. No. All the fire, all the smoke this year, year 1, right now, Lane Kiffin has to go to Oxford to face the team that he just spurned. And as we talked about at the top of the show, just continues to spit in the wind behind him in the face of Ole Miss. So that one has to be number 1. Then Georgia, Alabama, as we talked about in your segment, absolute war every single year. This will absolutely be a war. We'll get a new quarterback in this matchup for Alabama. Is it going to be Keelan Russell? Is it going to be Austin Mack going up against the veteran in Gunnar Stockton for Georgia? Going to be fascinating. By the way, look at those 2 dates right there. Number 2, number 3, October 10th. Athletes Forum, my man. Talked about Ole Miss or LSU and Ole Miss. LSU at Ole Miss in that first weekend. If you're having a kid, I'm telling you, same thing with October 10th, my friend. If you're having a kid on October 10th, just make that appointment for the next day. Maybe induce labor on October 11th, because that you got to be sitting in front of the TV or at one of these games, because Georgia at Alabama, Oklahoma at Texas, Red River, October 10th. Bookmark it, circle it. Got to be watching on October 10th, because it's a great slate just with those 2 games right there. A&M at Alabama. I wanted to put that one on there because this one hasn't been played in a little bit. Ever since we got rid of the divisions, A&M and Alabama have not played. And this one was also, while Alabama generally got the best of A&M, this was a war a lot of years, especially kind of in the during the Jimbo years. Obviously, the Johnny game in 2012, everyone remembers that one. 2013 was a crazy game as well. The follow-up year with Johnny, I think A&M went up by 2 touchdowns, and then Alabama came back to end up winning that game. You had the 59-0 with Kevin Sumlin, and then there's been multiple games where A&M has pushed Alabama to the wire. They got them once with the Seth Small kick.
Zach Calzada, baby.
Zach Calzada, yeah, one of the best quarterbacks in SEC history.
He's getting money. You know
Mike Huseman. Yeah, that's right.
NIL.
That's right. Mike Huseman knows what I'm talking about. Just look up the stats, and you can check out the racks that he's also playing with as well online. But this game is going to be this should have SEC title ramifications on it as well. I mean, we'll see, right? But I think that A&M, as we've talked about, they reloaded. Elko did a great job in the portal. It's all about Marcel Reed. We'll see.
Yeah.
And again, veteran QB against newbie for Bama.
Yeah, I was going to say both fan bases certainly expect that game to carry SEC title ramifications. We'll see if it gets there. And one thing I wanted to say too on Red River, just as a look ahead, like to hype it up some more, is last year's game was such a dud because Mateer was not there. I mean, I know Dr. Shin put a statue up. He did his best, but the hand was not in a good place. I mean, he was that was one of the worst. Like, he just was so inaccurate. It was very clear that he could do nothing. And they didn't really have a run game all year, you know, and obviously you're not going to run it on Texas very well, especially if you don't have a run game. So him being healthy after the embarrassment of last year, I think, you know, Oklahoma probably just steps into that game, assuming and hopefully, you know, knock on wood, he's healthy this year. Like they step into that, Mateer steps into that game with a chip on his shoulder, like, hey, we cannot have a repeat of last year. This is our biggest game every single year. And last year, I mean, we just laid a total egg. So they should be ready. And you brought up the Venable stuff, like all that kind of plays into it where he's got to get it better there. Mateer's going to be wanting to put a better effort forward. So I do think that one will be a big time war at the Cotton Bowl.
I think it hindered how far Oklahoma could go, bringing him back for that game. Frankly, he was not the same the rest of the year, and they still won some big games. They beat Alabama, you know, and they made the playoff. And like they did what they had to do to get in, but they were eking out wins, and that offense was not the engine. It was Brent Venable's defense, which was incredible, and even gave him a chance to win in the Texas game. I mean, in Texas, I think what was it with the final, like 26-7 or something like that. I think it was the final in that game. So
yeah,
Texas scored, you know, a late touchdown to even, you know, further put it out of reach. But that was, I think, a big mistake. I think if they had that one back, they would have, unfortunately, you know, sadly sat Mateer for that game. But
yeah.
Okay, my last game here, LSU at Tennessee. Okay, so not only does Lane Kiffin have to go to Oxford, but looking through the schedule this year, you also find an Easter egg in that Lane Kiffin, now the coach in Baton Rouge, he's got to go to Tennessee on November 21st. And I think he's going to get a very warm welcome in Knoxville. What about you?
Yeah, you're right. We could have multiple mustard bottle instances this fall. Or golf balls. I mean, I don't know. It could be rough again, especially, you know, Tennessee to me is a real wild card.
Yeah,
because we don't really know what's going on with the quarterback. So that game, like, if Tennessee gets it right, and if Heupel can get the offense going again, like that could have some pretty serious implications. But at the very least, it's gonna have some serious energy because I think this is good. See, thank you, Corey. Right? I personally have already said I'm done with the shirtless Lane Kiffin pictures. I don't need to see it anymore. Sounds like you are on our side, our friend Corey Burton of Locked on Vandy. If you are a SEC fan or Vandy fan and you're not watching Locked on Vandy, what are you doing? Get on board. But yeah, just looking like this is a good Easter egg because I was looking again at the whole kind of schedule, right, for all these teams holistically. Dude, I mean, they all have gauntlets because it's 9 games now. But LSU, man, my goodness. Start the year with Clemson.
Yeah.
At Ole Miss in week 3. You host A&M in week 4. McNeese. Then you go to Kentucky, October 10th, which TBD. Then you host Mississippi State.
Dangerous game.
Dangerous. Yeah, then you host Mississippi State. Then you go on the road at Auburn. Again, who knows what to expect, but Jordan Hare, good luck. Then you host Alabama. Then you host Texas. Then you go on the road to Tennessee. And then you finish at Arkansas.
Have fun.
I know. I mean, I think, not to bring it back to Kiffin, but I think that's why Kiffin keeps saying, this is a multi-year thing, guys. Come on.
It's taking 2-3 years.
Yeah, we can't have too high of expectations in year one. Come on, we just got here. So that Tennessee game, and again, you talk about like a sandwich, right? I mean, who knows where they'll be? Who knows where they'll be at that point, November 21st?
I'm sorry, Rick's comment just happened. next.
Yeah, he's going to go from Vanity Fair to SI swimsuit. And he's going to be.
Oh God! Please no. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, he's been doing hot yoga, so he really wants everybody to see what he's got going on.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not high on Arkansas this year, but crazier things have happened. And you're going Bama, Texas, Tennessee, Arkansas in the month of November. Like that Tennessee game sandwiched in there on the road. Good luck. Good luck going to Neyland with 100,000 strong after Alabama and after Texas. Like,
yes,
you think you're feeling a little beat up, and then you go there and you got golf balls flying at you. Like, Sam Levitt, welcome to the Thunderdome, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point too, because that's something else you got to look at, right? Like this is like the step 2 of like really looking at the schedule is, all right, these big games, right? That's great. Well, what do they have before and what do they have coming up after? You know, because that matters a lot. Did you play Georgia the week before you play LSU, or, you know, like how does that match up? One of the things I noticed about Red River, I'm looking at the schedule that I've got on my wall right above me. And so Red River, Oklahoma, they both of them, Texas and Oklahoma, have buys going into the Red River. But the week before, both of them have tough games. Okay. Texas they go to Knoxville, then Red River, and Oklahoma is at Georgia. They go to Sanford Stadium between the hedges to go play Georgia. Then they get off. Then they get Texas. So those two teams, I mean, there should be near the top of the SEC. But my gosh, like I get you get a bye, but you're still going to be, you just went to war with these teams. Those are really good teams. Those are two of the top teams in the SEC. Tennessee should be in the upper echelon, you know, and we'll see. Maybe they end up being, you know, top 5-ish team in the SEC this year. But still tough to go to Knoxville and get a win in Neyland Stadium, no doubt about it. So, yeah, that's kind of the next step is looking, okay, what's before and what's after? Is there a look ahead piece of this? Is there we just, you know, back to back to back, it's just SEC battle after battle after battle. And then we have, you know, the top game of the year that we have to get up for, which is fascinating. So, yeah, I think, you know, I think about Lane Kiffin going to Oxford, also having to go to Neyland Stadium this year and two fan bases that absolutely hate him. It's going to be interesting. He probably should think about investing in what that Bubble Boy kid did on Seinfeld. Just wear the whole suit, you know, the whole Bubble Boy suit. Just let it bounce off you, you know, because you're going to get stuff thrown at you, no doubt about it. It is what it is.
Gosh, yeah. That scene in Oxford, September 21st, when LSU comes out of the tunnel. Eesh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be ugly.
I can't wait.
It'll be ugly. There's going to be a lot. And it's a night game. I think they've already announced it, which is funny. This is ironic because Kiffin complained that they would never get night games. And now that he's coming back. I'm sure he'll have a comment about it. I'm sure he wouldn't be able to resist.
Well, you know, he's not going to have to worry about that at LSU because they get night games no matter what, you know.
True.
They could be playing FIU and they'll get a night game.
Hey, he should have said that as one of the reasons he left, and that would have been more justifiable than all the other nonsense he's thrown out there. He should have said, I was tired of playing day games.
100%. That's good. Okay. That's funny. That's funny. And it's true. Okay. All right. So let's get into some SEC baseball here before we get out of here and get into our last two segments that we always do, our Leach Coach of the Week and our Biscuit of the Week. But we got a big weekend in SEC baseball coming up here. Final weekend of regular season play before we get into the SEC tournament and then on to the NCAA tournament. Here's a look at what happened this past weekend from our friends at SEC Baseball. At SEC Baseball, go ahead and check them out. They put fantastic graphics together and do a great job covering SEC baseball. So be sure to go follow them. But interesting weekend here in the SEC. You had Auburn, Mississippi State. Auburn's just on a heater, man. They are playing really good baseball right now. But they go to Starkville and get a 2-1 series win. Alabama sweeps South Carolina. Don't know why I even mentioned that. That's just a given. We all knew that South Carolina swept. Georgia sweeps LSU. To be honest with you, everybody's sweeping LSU this year too. So sorry, LSU fans. It's been a rough one off the heels of that national title. Texas lost the series to the Vols. The Vols getting a little hot here to end the year. Hey, kind of a dark horse here in the SEC tournament. Watch out for them. They're playing good baseball.
They are back-to-back series wins.
Yep.
So we were talking about it really about 3 weeks ago, just saying like, hey, I think they're in, they're in, but like they need to get some wins on the board, and they've responded. So like you said, Vol's playing good baseball. That's a big series win. I mean, it's top five team in your house, and you take 2 of 3. That's huge.
They had a shot at a sweep too. They were going into Sunday with a sweep on the as a possibility, and Texas ended up getting them and beat them pretty good on Sunday. But they did have a sweep opportunity there. So Vols are playing for betterment of position in terms of their NCAA seeding, and if they make a run in the SEC tournament, they really have a good shot, I think, at getting a good regional and having a good shot at getting into the supers. So Florida beats Kentucky, and Arkansas got a series win over Oklahoma. A&M lost their series to Ole Miss on the road there, and then Missouri and Vanderbilt. Missouri beats Vandy. Vandy, I think, is cooked.
They are cooked, I believe. Yes.
Yeah,
they're
cooked.
They're done. Good comment from our friend Mike here.
Mike, just tune out.
Yeah.
Put it on mute. All right. Here's our standings through May 10th. You had Georgia has just been, I think they've been in first for most of the season here. And the SEC season. And then you got A&M and Texas. They've been tied. They just continue to stay tied. That one game still that they were not able to play in College Station is coming back to bite them in terms of the record, because one of them would be in sole possession of second place. But that is not the case. They just keep winning games and losing the exact same amount. So they are tied for second there. You got Alabama and Auburn following that up, and then Florida, Mississippi State, Arkansas. Arkansas back to being, I think, number 12 in the country, if I saw that correctly. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that's correct. So anyway, lots of good baseball being played right now in the SEC. The SEC tournament's going to be a ton of fun. We do have, I think you made this graphic for us. Here we go.
Yeah.
So our final weekend series, these are the top series that we're watching this weekend. The biggest one probably, and no homerism here, I promise. A&M, number 10 in the country. They are hosting Mississippi State. Brian O'Connor heading to College Station for the first time as Mississippi State's coach, number 13 in the country. This one really has seeding on the line, and that's why I say no bias here. But this could, if A&M wins this series, you're thinking in terms of RPI and their ranking in D1 and et cetera, they are in play for a top 8 seed to host a regional. And Mississippi State, if they win this series, maybe if they get a sweep, maybe they could sneak in and get a top 8. Be surprised, but it could happen.
Could.
And so that's a big series, massive series there in College Station. Obviously, you got Georgia and Auburn, number 4, number 5. That is a massive series. Both of them probably going to host a regional at this point, but just going to be some awesome baseball being played in Auburn, Alabama this weekend. And then Ole Miss and Alabama, both of them playing for seeding in the SEC tournament, and then also playing for just better seeding in the NCAA tournament. So, series this weekend.
Right, I was going to say, both, Ole Miss and Alabama. Again, and a lot of this, it's the last regular season, but the tournament will have some impact on this too. But like Alabama and Ole Miss, it's like, hey, I don't know what they need to do specifically, but Ole Miss, you take 2 of 3, you're probably hosting. Bama, 2 of 3, you're probably hosting, or a sweep, it's like you're probably most definitely hosting. So that's a big deal. I mean, I know Bama's been on the baseball diamond like a much improved team over the last, let's say, 3 years. I don't think they have hosted a regional yet. Call me on that if I'm wrong. I remember last year they were a 2 seed, so they've been like right there. And that'll be big for them, because that's not a like traditional power in baseball, so to speak. But they've been good. It's just, I mean, look, we like hosting a regional is the best. We used to go to those games as kids.
Yeah.
You just go all day. You just show up and there's just baseball all day, and it's at your stadium. So hosting a regional absolutely rules. So for Ole Miss, for Alabama, a lot on the line. For A&M, as you said, they're going to host a regional, but will they be a top 8 seed?
Yeah, I should have clarified. A super. If you get to the top 8 and you get out of your
right,
hosting your regional, you host your super. So that's really what's on the line with State and A&M.
Right. And State is kind of in there, like you said. If they sweep, it's possible they could get in the top 8 seed and host a regional, and then if they get out, a super. Or, if they can at least win one, they've probably secured themselves a spot in the top 16 to host. So,
yeah,
good stuff all around.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to have SEC Network on. I'm sure a couple of these are on ESPN too as well, and maybe ESPN. Sometimes they play a Sunday game on ESPN. So be tuned into that. You can check secsports.com for everything that you need in terms of the schedule of SEC baseball that's going on this weekend. All right, I think we're like pretty dadgum good on time. We're doing great right now. Look at us.
It.
Yeah. So in order to blow that up, why don't we talk about the 2014 playoff? I'm just kidding.
The 2007 season?
Yeah, I think we're sick of talking about that. But just to touch on that very, very briefly is that there's been talk now. There's momentum in the ACC to go to a 2014 playoff. It seems like momentum is coalescing around going to a 2014 playoff, which is absolutely asinine and completely stupid, and we hate it. And also, I will say this one thing. Saw today, not everybody in the ACC apparently is on board with the 2014 playoff. Mario Cristobal comes out. He was very against it. He made comments today on a podcast, and he just said, nope, I think it's dumb. Way too many teams. Why would we even play the regular season? Thank you, Mario. That's what we've all been saying, okay? The fans hate it. I sent this tweet out the other day when some new On3 tweet or something else came out about, we're going to the 2014 playoff. There's momentum building around it, blah, blah, blah. There's consensus. That was the word that was used. Consensus building around the 2014 playoff. And I quote tweeted it and I said, yeah, there is consensus. There's consensus among fans that this sucks, right? We don't want it. I'm glad Mario Cristobal is voicing that opinion because he's got a big voice in college football. He just went to a national title game, and he's one of the major coaches in the sport. So will it have any effect? I don't know. Probably not. But I was glad to see him come out and say what all the fans have been saying, which is we don't want this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's happening. We'll see when. But I also I get, ACC, Big 12. Like, yeah, obviously they want it. They keep getting left out. So they want more seats at the table.
Yeah.
Do they deserve more seats at the table? I don't think so. Do they want them? Yes.
No. Hey, who wants to see Baylor get blown out? Not me. Don't care. Okay, let's move into our final two segments. We always do this every single week. We got first up our Leach Coach of the Week. We give this out each week to a coach that best exemplifies the passion of college football. Coach Leach did that. He loved the game. He did that with humor and with grace, and we loved Coach Leach for it. This week, a little bit outside of football, we had a legend pass away this week. Bobby Cox of the Atlanta Braves was a legendary manager. I think I saw this somewhere that somebody put together. They said Bobby Cox was thrown out of one out of every 58, one out of every 158 games. And that is spanning the entire Atlanta Braves history going back to like 1870 or 1880. Right?
Yeah.
It's like he was getting thrown out all the time. And so I think that this is a story that was told by Chipper Jones on like a round table that was done on Fox Sports years ago with the 90s Braves and Glavine and Maddox and Smoltz and Chipper and the skipper, Bobby Cox. They're all sitting around the table there talking about some memories. Tom Glavine, I think, is in there. And they tell this story about one of their favorite times that Bobby Cox got thrown out of a game. So this is your Leach Coach of the Week. This is Bobby Cox, a legend. May he rest in peace. Check it out.
My favorite stories. People ask me all the time, what's Bobby like? What's your favorite ejection?
Oh, yeah.
It was
Cincinnati.
Yeah, by far.
Go ahead, Chip.
Cincinnati. Okay.
Or Smoltz.
First inning of the game.
No, it was later than that. We had a 5-run lead. It was late. It was like a third inning.
Well, I thought it was
early.
It was early.
And
it was the first game of the series, so we had just, we didn't want to burn our bullpen.
No, we have nobody in the
so
pen.
Booney hits a triple in the gap. There's a play at third, and he slides in safe, but comes off the bag. All right? I keep the tag on him, and Hunter Wendelstedt calls him safe. Right?
And I came in pointing.
He saw it and comes in pointing. Somehow or another,
Hunter steps on my foot.
they got tangled up. All right? And bumped. Smoltzy gone. So Skipper comes waddling out, and he's just, and he gets an explanation from Hunter, and Hunter said, he bumped me. And Skipper, I'll never forget it. He goes, oh, Hunter, you wouldn't make a pimple on your daddy's ass, And at that point, glove went over the face. Bobby got tossed, and the whole time Smoltzy was already tossed, right?
Yeah.
And Coxie comes out and he says, "You're not tossed. You get up on that mound." Smoltzy goes up. He's standing on the mound like a little kid, like he doesn't know what to do. Finally, Bobby gets tossed and he starts to walk off, and he goes, "Smoltzy, come on, man." and it was so funny. Brett Boone and I were on third base, laughing so hard. That was
That was the best 10 minutes.
Was that not? Didn't Hunter throw you out and then you threw him out?
No, that was later. That was Meals.
That's another umpire. You threw
When
out.
I was taking care
Jerry
of
Mills.
the guy behind the scenes here. But no, he stepped on my foot, and he said,
I saw it.
"You bumped me."
I was there.
And I stood on the mound, and Randy Marsh came over and said, "John, I have to leave." I said, "I'm not leaving." My manager said, "I'm staying on the mound."
No, I told him. I said,
I'm not leaving.
It's not thrown
I said,
out.
"You can reverse." I said, "You
We
can
just
reverse
started
this."
the game.
Yeah, it's like the second or third inning, and Bobby was like worried that we were going to blow our bullpen in the first game of the series.
That was awesome.
It was hilarious. So that, just to let you know, Skip, whenever somebody asked me,
No,
what's your
but Mad
favorite
Dog got me
injection?
thrown out one
Yeah.
time by, I said,
That
he's
was
not
only
pitching,
one
he's not
game.
even pitching.
It was when he was doing the chop. That's the story I
The
tell all
balls
the
are
time.
close,
Yeah.
and I'm going, damn, that's a strike, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mad Dog goes up for a cough. I said, if you're going, check out those pitches. He comes back and says, Bobby, you're
Bobby,
right
lied to
there.
me.
They were that far outside. I'm screaming at the umpire.
Bobby, we told him for the record.
See,
We
he's
said,
nothing
"Don't
but-
go down and tell Skipper."
Yes.
He goes, all right, I won't. And he went down and he told you the opposite.
You're a pie-stir, man.
That was just for fun.
Stirring the pot.
Yeah.
You thought we needed a pick-me.
How about that? I think that was your first time seeing that. What did you think?
It was great. Yeah, that was my first time seeing it, and that's awesome. There was, hey, look, back in the day, many a Braves game just watching on TBS during the summer because I had nothing to do. So those guys, I didn't root for the Braves because we were Rangers fans, but man, I remember that whole crew quite well. And Bobby Cox was just always like, he was the man. Everybody, he was a baseball manager's baseball manager, I guess, right? If you want to put it that way. Just everybody loved him, respected him, and he was there forever, and he won a bunch of ball games.
Well, and I had forgotten this, but not forgotten. I didn't know this because I grew up, Bobby Cox was already there, right? Bobby Cox was the 90s Braves, and so ever since I was a kid, it was always Bobby Cox and the Braves and Chipper and Andrew Jones and Mad Dog and, Tom Glavine and Smoltzy and all those guys and Javi Lopez at one point. So I just grew up on that, and Bobby Cox was ubiquitous with the Braves. He got fired as the manager of the Braves and then left and then ended up coming back, and he was the GM. He wasn't even the coach. He was the GM of the Braves first, and then decided it was time to go back in the dugout. And so he went back in the dugout. I forget how many years after, but some of you Braves fans in the comments, I know you could tell me, but it was like 1 or 2 years after he'd been the GM, and he was like, yeah, I'd rather be on the bench. And so he went back and he became the manager for the Braves for all those years. And it's just funny. It's also funny, like those guys are talking about, oh yeah, I remember this story, whatever. And then they're like, Well, what about this one when he got thrown out? Or are you talking about this story when he got thrown out? It's like there's so many stories of when he got thrown out.
Oh, yeah.
They just run together. It's like, oh yeah, no, you're right. It is. That was the time, not that time.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. So anyway, legend Bobby Cox, rest in peace. He was a staplehood of our childhood, as you mentioned, with the '90s Braves, who were. It's the one knock on Bobby, and I don't even mean to knock him, but I know Braves fans do it too. Like, oh, how did they only get one title with that team, man? That team should have been the Yankees of that
But
era.
they won. You're right. Yeah, they couldn't get
won
over the hump some in the postseason, but they won like 15 divisions in a row. Yeah, 14 or 15 in a row. Just every year they were dominating.
Yeah. So unfortunately, they only got one, but they did. They got one, and like you said, just year after year after year, they won the NL East. So rest in peace, Bobby Cox. He was a great man. All his players loved him. So many stories came out about that over the course of the last week after he passed. So, all right, let's move into our final segment. Do this every single week. I think we'll get into this biscuit of the week first, and then I know Mike wants to hear more about I think the tiramisu that you had last week.
Oh yeah, from my wife's Instagram. We had a matcha tiramisu at a ramen place. It's pretty good. It was a little I took the first bite and it was a little, I told my wife Jenny, I said it was a little bit like the cinnamon challenge, because you take a bite and it's all the matcha tea powder on top of this, tiramisu. So you take a bite and you're just eating tea powder. But it was good. It was good. I didn't know what matcha was until I met my wife. So look at me. I'm cultured.
I'm not married, and I still don't know. I don't want to know what matcha is. I've maybe had it maybe once. I think I don't know, but I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not into it. Like your lovely wife, she's always making. What is she? Is she do it with the tea or the coffee? She's doing the art. She does the artwork.
Both. Yeah, she'll do a latte or matcha, either one.
Okay, well, she makes it look a little more appetizing,
art,
but generally the green matcha that I'm looking at, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I can do that, man.
It basically looks like AG1 or something, like some kind of powder, but it's just green tea powder.
It probably tastes like AG1 too. All right, let's get into the biscuit of the week here. We got this one off Twitter this week. This one comes from he's a pretty good account on Twitter. Roland Gunn, Tennessee. He talks about Southern culture, Southern style, Southern aesthetics, things like that. This one, he put this on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, heck, that looks good. It is a chicken tenderloin, fried chicken tenderloin biscuit there. That biscuit looks awesome. The tenderloin is an interesting take. A lot of times it's a breast, right? You get a fat chicken breast on there, but the tenderloin, it's a little bit longer and elongated there in the biscuit, but you get a lot of chicken, you get a lot of fry on that sucker. So looks really dadgum good. It's from the Blue Magnolia in Corinth, Mississippi. So that looks about as southern a fried chicken biscuit as you're going to get, my friend. I will be visiting the Blue Magnolia at some point soon. So Roland Gunn, at Roland Gunn TN, give him a follow on Twitter. That is a badass biscuit there. I will be visiting the Blue Magnolia Cafe at some point, Corinth, Mississippi. Be sure to stop by if you're ever in the area.
Yeah, it looks like a good spot. That was really the best picture I could find online, but it looks pretty cool and cozy inside, real like wooden and brick, kind of an older style, bakery bread company. And you can just tell that's good by all the grease that's on the packaging.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's good.
That's how the real ones, the pros do it. That's how the pros do it. Sandlot, for those of you who don't know, one of the greatest movies of all time. That is your biscuit of the week. As always, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. It is a pleasure to have you with us, even in the off season. I know that we're scrounging sometimes, but had some crazy stuff to talk about this week with Lane. Also starting to talk about football, man. We're getting close to doing our 16 and 16s. If you guys don't know what those are, we've done those every single year on the Biscuits SEC website. This year, we're taking them and we're going to do it on the podcast. So what that is a deep dive into every team. It's a different preview than I think you'll find anywhere else. We dive deep into the NIL, the overall health of the program, what's going on, from the NIL to facilities to recruiting, the coach, and then into what does the roster look like? What is the outlook for this season for this team? And we give them a Biscuits rating out of 12 biscuits. And so you can go back and look at what we've done over the past couple of years for most of these teams. I don't think we got all of them done last year. We did our best, but this year we're going to do 2 a week starting. I think I looked at this midsummer, maybe mid-June. So coming up here soon, we'll be doing our 16 and 16. So we'll do 2 teams an episode, getting through and just really diving deep and peeling back the onion layers on every one of these teams. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So be sure, if you are not subscribed yet, subscribe to us on YouTube. We really appreciate that. Be sure to also subscribe to us for the Morning Biscuits newsletter, which this week only will be coming to you guys on Thursdays instead of Wednesday. That comes to you typically on Wednesdays during the off season, then on Monday and on Friday during the season. Free to sign up. Everything that's going on in the SEC athletics, and then in the broader college sports landscape. So be sure to sign up for that. As always, everybody, we are part of the After Dark Network, which was started by our friend Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss. Does a fantastic job over there. We will be on SEC After Dark tomorrow night, Thursdays, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Every single week we come to you. We go off the rails with the whole crew. And also, Offseason After Dark, our friend Mike Huseman, he was with us tonight. Be sure to check him out at Offseason After Dark. Had an awesome episode I saw come out. I need to listen to it. UTSA. Had a guy from UTSA on. He doesn't just do the SEC. He goes all over the country. He dives deep into all sorts of teams, conferences, all of it. If you are an absolute college football sicko, you need to be subscribed to Offseason After Dark. So be sure to go follow Mike Huseman at Offseason AD, and then you can also subscribe to him on Twitter. Just search at Offseason After Dark. Bama After Dark 2, that is our friend Jake Thomas. He does Bama After Dark. Be sure to check him out for all things Tide, Tuesdays, typically 6:30 Eastern, and the Regular Guys pod as well. That is Corey Burton and Israel Troop. They're on a bit of an irregular cadence right now. Be sure to follow them for the next one they got coming up. So we will see you guys tomorrow night for SEC After Dark. For Bossman and Hammer, this has been show 85 of Biscuits and SEC Live.
Appreciate y'all.